Last music all hours of the day and night. What the hell am I supposed to do with that? Good morning, you guys. How are you doing? Welcome back to my channel. I am Keeta. Welcome back to Astoldbykeeta. I changed my name because as Key, for some reason, hit my ear a little better, but it's the same me doing the same things. And as you've read in the title already, this is a 90-day fiance rewind. We're going to take it back to Jorge and Anfisa. Now, what's going on is people constantly ask me, because I watched the show, what happened to these couples? What happened after the show? Do I follow these people? Some people I do, some people I don't. Sometimes I got to look things up. Some things I just remember because I kind of got the time to watch the TV. So, instead of me constantly answering our 101 questions, I figure I'll just do the couples that you guys want to know about, and I will do a rewind. We'll take it back to the beginning and we'll bring you up to what's going on with them right now. And so today I'm going to do Jorge and Anfisa because Anfisa has been all over my cotton picking timeline on Twitter and Instagram. And why not do Jorge and Anfisa? They were the most entertaining couple to me besides Danielle and Muhammad and Nicole and Azin. And I can't do Nicole and Azin right now. So we're going to do Jorge and Anfisa. So Jorge met Anfisa. Anfisa was from Russia. She was a little bit younger than Jorge. Anfisa was 21 and Jorge was 25. But prior to us meeting them, Jorge had been courting Anfisa for a while. He would pick her up from her country, take her to Paris, and do things like that. We find out down the line that he bought her some boobs and got her lips done and was making sure she got Botox. So Jorge already had an idea in his head of what he wanted Anfisa to be. Now, Anfisa had an idea in her head of what she wanted Jorge to be. She wanted Jorge as to be rich. And Jorge knew this, and he went out of his way to make her believe he was. And so when she came to the States, she already knew what it was that she wanted. She already knew what it was that she needed. And she made it perfectly clear to Jorge that, listen, I want a guy that can take care of me. You promised me that you could, so that's what I want you to do. And Jorge had no problems with that at all. Jorge was like, okay, Anfisa, I can do that. Like, Jorge wanted her on his team. And so you do what you got to do. Sorry, you guys. Oh, yeah. There we go. I can see you guys better now. So Jorge wanted, Anfisa on the team. And Anfisa was like, I'll be down as long as you do what I need you to do. So Anfisa lies at some point, tells him that she didn't get her K1 visa, but then ultimately ends up surprising Jorge by flying to the States on her own and telling him, listen, you need to come pick me up because I'm here. He was super duper happy, super surprised. And at first, when I first met them, I was like, oh my God, they're going to do good together. Like, this is going to be one of those success stories that we get to see when we watch 90 Day Fiancé, because there's usually a lot of breakups. So I was like, this is going to be good. But as time progressed and we start to see that Jorge was not prepared, like, even if she said she didn't get her K1, Jorge was already living in a hotel. And so he takes Anfisa back to the hotel that he's been staying at. And she's like, why are we staying in this hotel? And Jorge cannot explain himself. And the entire time that we're watching Jorge and Anfisa's story, I knew something was weird. I knew something was up because Jorge just would not explain why they were staying in the hotel. I could not understand for somebody who said he had so much money and had been spending so much money while they were staying in the hotel. And yes, the hotel was nice, but still a hotel. So as time goes on, we start to realize that Jorge is a little off. And Anfisa starts to come off as a gold digger. And I was so hurt. I was like, no. But then my reality sets in. And my reality sets in that for years, at least 2, okay, maybe 3, Jorge has been taking her to Disney and buying her clothes and getting her bags and flying in and out. And he paid for this whole K1 thing. So it was no sponsor. Nobody was backing him. He was doing this. And so when you're coming from another country, you want to know that you can be taken care of, because you got to remember, these people coming over here, they can't work for at least 6 months to a year. You have to get your green card before you can get to work. So you want to feel secure in the situation. Do I think Anfisa took it a little too far? No, I don't. And I'm sorry to anybody that's watching it like, oh, she's a gold digger, da-da-da-da. Just work with me here. Imagine you start dating a person, okay? And this person is giving you everything that you want and more, and you're not really asking for it, they're just doing it. You become accustomed to something, okay? This person tells you, I want you to leave your family. I want you to come live with me. We're going to move to California, or we're going to move to another country. And we're going to live out our days in Africa. Or we're going to live out our days in Canada. Or we're going to live out our days wherever it is that I'm going to move you. I'm going to move you from the States. You're going to come here. You're going to live with me. We're going to do good. You can't work, though. You get where I'm going with this? You can't work. So all of your securities, all of the things that you're accustomed to, all of the things that even if that person wasn't doing it for you, that you were doing for yourself, you want to be able to maintain those things. You get up, you go, you move, you leave everything that you know, everything that you love, everyone that you love, and you come to this country with this person, and then you find out that this is nothing that you signed up for. You signed up for a lifestyle that you had become accustomed to when this person was coming to you, and a lifestyle that you made it yourself accustomed to. You were comfortable before you got up and moved wherever the hell you moved to. So do I think Anfisa went too far when George could not do things for her? She had a right to be upset. Now, here's the thing. I do not think Anfisa had any right at any point ever to put her hands on George. I don't think anybody should put their hands on anybody. Period. Anfisa would hit George and beat up on George, and that's where I draw my line. But her being angry and her trying to figure out why George didn't have money, she has every right to try to figure that out, because she came over here with the belief system that he was going to be able to take care of her and keep that lifestyle that she had become accustomed to going, and George wasn't telling the truth. But again, I draw my line at putting your hands on anybody, and the verbal abuse that would come after the sensible question. She would go, George, where's the money? George wouldn't answer, and that fly off where she's like, you're stupid fucking cunt. Yeah. No, we're not going to say that word. But when Anfisa got mad, Anfisa got mad. And that's where I draw my line, where you start to become abusive. That is where I think Anfisa goes too far. But when Anfisa was asking about the money and trying to figure out what was going on, she had every right to know, because George promised her things, and George should have been able to uphold those promises, or at least tell her the truth. And so there's how I feel about that with Anfisa. But when it comes to George, as the time go on, George finally gets them into an apartment, and Anfisa's like, I want a house. And George is like, Anfisa, we just got this apartment. Like, you got to give me time. Like, I have to pay for things. I have to do this and I do this. And you start to realize that there is really a money issue here. There is a trust issue, because George is not telling the truth. His family is like this, like they're not feeling Anfisa at all. Like, his sisters are hating it. His mother is really hating it because she feels like Anfisa is keeping George away. And the reality is George is keeping George away, because the thing is, he knows that his family doesn't know how to control themselves or what they say. And he knows that Anfisa is going to probably respond in a negative way also. So he has chosen to separate himself from his family and to keep Anfisa away. And people say Anfisa should be making an effort to get to know George's family because she's the wife and whatever. But the truth is, when you are in a situation where somebody's being blatantly disrespectful and they don't know the entire story, they just know what George is telling, it makes it kind of hard to want to get to know people. That's just what I'm going to say about that. I think Anfisa could have made a better effort, but so could have George's family members. They could have definitely not been judging just off of what George said, because there's always two sides of the story, and George only tells his side, and we see that a lot with him. So